The actress that plays Snow White is getting roasted alive by the public, particularly here on TikTok, and the media wants you to think that it's because of racism. But this is the truth. Last week, this clip of the actress went viral.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
And TikTok exploded with thousands of posts criticizing the actress. And no matter what the criticisms were that came from fans and audiences, Hollywood and the media did what they do best. They spun the story, insisting the problem isn't with them and what they've created, the problem is with you. You're a racist, or a sexist, or not progressive enough, or even worse, you're a dwarf lover. Gross. Because apparently in 2023, dwarves don't have a place in movies and media. And all of this just shows how out of touch Hollywood and the media are with their core customer base. You, the viewer, audiences. So in order to understand how we got here, let's break this down frame by frame. First, fans were upset that Snow White was cast by a Colombian-American actress. And when people brought up the fact that this did change the princess's iconic look, even fans that were just saying, hey, the costume looks like it came from a discount rack at Party City, anyone who had a problem with the look of this new Snow White, they were immediately labeled as racist. Then, when fans questioned the removal of the beloved 7 dwarfs from the story, we the public were told that we shouldn't even be saying dwarf because it's somehow offensive and not politically correct.
Dwarf. They shouldn't be called dwarves.
No, they should be called people with dwarfism.
They shouldn't be called. What's wrong with being called dwarves?
Nothing, but that's not the correct
That's the
term.
story.
Dylan, apparently you're not allowed to call yourself a
dwarf.
And now that the lead cast member, Rachel Zegler, said that this isn't 1937 anymore, and the whole story needs to be refreshed, it begs the question, why even remake something if it was so problematic in the first place? Because Rachel Zegler was also quoted saying, ours is the PC Snow White, because it needed that. Our version is a refreshing story about a young woman who has a function beyond someday my prince will come. And after that quote, TikTok blew up with posts from creators voicing their preference that they don't want to watch a girl boss become a powerful leader. They just want a simple love story. And this is the real reason for why woke remakes are always going to be disasters. It has nothing to do with racism, sexism, or lack of progressivism. It's really about the fact that when it comes to storytelling, just like food, people have familiar staples that they enjoy going back to regularly. And these staples, in order to be successful, have to remain consistent. Because when we as human beings are craving something to tickle the pleasure centers of our brains, we go back to the things that we know and love, both in movies and in food. Just think about this. Maybe you love cookies. Maybe sushi is your thing. Maybe it's just a simple burger. People just like what they like. And that's never really going to change, no matter how much you or somebody else thinks it should. Now, that being said, there is nothing wrong with brand new recipes and innovation making their way into media and into food. But when you change the recipe of a classic that was tried and true that people already loved, you're gonna have problems. Let's take Coca-Cola, straight from the McDonald's fountain. This is our example. If you change that, people are going to freak out. Fountain Coke from the McDonald's tap has been the same recipe since 1955, but its age doesn't matter. People don't want it to change even though it's old. We don't need something more refreshing than that because it's familiar, because it's a classic, because it works. And if you prefer Coke from the McDonald's tap, it doesn't necessarily mean that you hate Pepsi. You just don't want somebody forcing you to drink Pepsi and telling you that that's better than the Coke that you knew you wanted. You can like both of them and just be in the mood for McDonald's Coke right now. And the same is true in movies. But Hollywood and the media don't want to admit this, and they want you to think that this new version of Snow White isn't being accepted because of hatred, because of bigotry, because of the patriarchy, because of everything else that they say is wrong with society. But the reality is much simpler. There are just staples within storytelling and within the stories that we're all familiar with that shouldn't be altered if we want these pieces of media to be successful. These staples include things like searching for true love, falling victim to vanity and jealousy, victory and defeat, overcoming impossible odds, and the possibility of happily ever after. Because people really want and need that today, even if it's just a fantasy. OnlyFans, dating apps, and the lie of the independent, successful, career-driven woman in 2023 has destroyed the overall happiness of women and men in this country. In fact, right now, now, over 52% of American women are single, and Prince Charming coming into the picture to change that is a literal fantasy for millions of young women and adult women all over the country. And Disney has opted to not provide that as a theme within this movie so that audiences can escape the reality of what they're facing in everyday life. And Disney has done that because they are stupid. Because when you promise great-grandma's famous chocolate chip cookies, a recipe that's been passed down for generations, and then you bait and switch your dinner guests with something that's gone so far off the original recipe that it's unrecognizable, of course they're going to demand what they thought they were going to get. Of course they're going to ask for the thing that they knew they already liked. TikTok's problem with Snow White has really nothing to do with racism, sexism, bigotry, or anything else. People were just promised chocolate chip cookies, and instead they're getting a turd in the shape of a cookie. And when would-be audience members voiced their displeasure over this, the media does what it does best. They went ahead and gaslighted everybody, or at least they tried to. So just remember, there is nothing wrong with you if you don't like or want what you're being offered by the media. If it smells like dog poop, if it looks like dog poop, it probably is. And you're not weird for not wanting it, no matter how much the media tells you that you should.